Welcome, everyone. It's the Mike Tech Show, show number 933. This is the first show of 2025. So, first, to everyone facing the devastating fires in Los Angeles and the surrounding area, please know that my heart is with you during this incredibly difficult time. And the destruction and uncertainty you're enduring are unimaginable. But you are not alone. Stay safe, stay strong, and know that brighter days will come. You are in our thoughts and prayers. Please do what you can for donating, whether it's the Red Cross or any other place that you feel that you trust and you like that can bring aid and comfort to everybody who's just it's devastating, and it's so heartbreaking watching the news. Since this is the first show, I want to wish everyone a new year filled with peace, joy, good health, and countless blessings. May 2025 bring you closer to your dreams and surround you with love and happiness. So from the bottom of my heart, Happy New Year, and may all good things come for you in 2025. Sorry for all the missed shows. I'm battling some medical issues that's been dominating my time. And but I'm doing good, and even last Thursday I had a very late doctor's appointment that literally conflicted with the show, because he needed to see me and wanted to literally at 7:00, where I'm normally coming on the air. I had to meet with my doctor. So there's the week before was MRIs and blood work, test. I'm tired of tests, and I still got some more. So not right now, but I'll go into details, and definitely I will discuss my medical journey in the show. So, I know you want tech, and I'm going to bring the tech, and I'm going to bring the tech in a couple minutes, but I just wanted to let you know what's happening with me, and let's keep our fingers crossed, and I'm going to maintain a regular schedule, I hope, until the end of May, when I head back to my oldest grandson's graduation of high school. I just can't believe it. That's when you know you're old, when you have a grandchild graduating high school. So now I had a very quiet New Year's Eve that I celebrated with my wife and went to bed around 2 a.m. So unlike where I would normally be on the air till 4 a.m., and I was thinking, how many years did I do a New Year's Eve show? This was the first time in a long time that I did not do a show. And, crossing my fingers that this coming year, 2025, I will come back and do a long New Year's Eve show. So just hope that everything goes well, and that I can do the show. It's interesting how when I was up north in Pennsylvania, because I'm recording this from my Florida house, funny how the outside temperature now impacts me. I used to always love the cold, loved the snow, hated the ice, never liked the ice. But when the wind chill is in single digits and the streets and sidewalks are blanketed with ice and snow, it is not fun. And I know a lot of you live up north in those areas, and it was a slap in the face reminder of why I want to spend time down south, where the weather is very different. And interesting, as we were discussing this in the pre-show in the chat, I have to deal with hurricanes, though. With everything that you think is paradise and good, there's always something to counter that, to keep you on your toes. California, horrible. The earthquakes, mudslides, fires. In the Midwest, tornadoes. No, we start to see more tornadoes up north. And down here in Florida, it's hurricanes. And that really takes its toll, and the stress around that. But it's during this time right now, I am thriving in this. I feel so much better being down here than battling that up north. And I find myself needing a constant 68 degrees Fahrenheit temperature. So whether it be winter, whether it be summer, I keep the houses at 68. Now, my wife is happy, as she's still up north right now, where she can crank up the temperature and get it into the 70s, where to me that's just way too warm. And down here, it does get cold at night a little bit, but let me tell you, it's not a cold. It's not that bone chilling cold that's up north. And it's why I'm a snowbird, and I've spent almost my entire life in Pennsylvania. But now I really appreciate the warm temperatures of Florida, and I just love being down here. And I got up very early Sunday morning and had my flight and got down here with actually a few minutes early, and it was very smooth. And I'm now all settled in and excited to be bringing you a show tonight, because I really missed not recording the last couple of weeks. I can't remember the last time I've taken that much time off and not doing a show. But I had the holidays. I had everything else I was dealing with. And, sometimes those things have to be a priority in my life over everything else. So now I'm getting down to serious. I got some work for some clients I got to finish up and take care of. There's a couple lingering projects that I've neglected that I got to get back on the horse. One of them is an email migration, and another one is system upgrades. We have some time, but I got to get on that, and I have a lot of clients now that we're in the last turn in the stretch of they have to go to Windows 11 and they have systems they can't upgrade. So we're now having those discussions. And one of the discussions was this week, where we had a conference call, my son and I, a Zoom call with the owner of one of our clients. And I really like his thinking as we were discussing the system options. And we're going to go with laptops and a docking station at the office and a matching docking station at home. And they could just carry the system back and forth. Now, there are files that are shared on a Synology. We have the VPN. So now they don't have to worry about remoting into their desktop at the office, because their desktop's with them. And for some of the executives and the senior management, we're going to go with, that set up at their house and at their at the office. Now, one of the owners is going to have 3 sets, and this is funny because it came up where he will have like a place in the Poconos, a place, his normal house, and then the business. So he's going to have 3 docking stations and then extra monitors at each location. But the one partner said, now, if he can only remember to take his laptop, which is definitely a possible issue, where if he leaves it at one location, then that doesn't help him. So it brings up and why I'm mentioning this, it helps with business continuity and disaster recovery. Because with business continuity, it's how do you run the business in a disaster? If the office, something happens that you can't go in the office or the office is gone, how do you maintain and continue the business? Well, if everybody has laptops, all they need is internet. If we have a Synology where they have to access it, well, one of our contingencies, there's a matching Synology at one of the partners' house that syncs. So the files, all we'd have to do is point them to the other house during a disaster, and I have that documented. So really, it's just, it helps when you have a laptop that everybody's constantly leaving, bringing back and forth to the office, then you can really, that's your main option for business continuity. Where anywhere else, I remember in the corporate world, we literally had to pay for a separate disaster recovery site just in case, and there's big money that you got to pay for that. So just wanted to bring that up. And it's interesting now, I have two other clients that also are 100% laptops, and they're CPAs, which 'tis the season now for CPAs, which is taxes, which I hate. I got to put everything together, and I'm sure some of you are in the same boat. I got to get my 1099s out. Well, not the 10, yeah, I got to get them out to contractors, anybody that's done work for me, and the taxes, which I hate having to do this, but we got to go through it. But it's now that time of season where the CPAs, and that's something I've been working on, and this week especially, been updating Intuit's Pro Series. I have 4 CPA clients that use Intuit's Pro Series, so I've been installing a lot of 2024 right now for everybody, and some as individuals, but a lot of them as network, where they have a peer server that I install the network version, and then you log in to do the workstation install. So a lot of them have had, 21, 22, 23, and now, 2024. So I've been installing a lot of that for clients. And then especially I have one client where everybody's remote. And so we have a VPN set up, and that's a slow install. If you don't have the bandwidth and you're on a laptop and your Wi-Fi, and now I'm remoting in and I'm doing an install, which normally took 15 minutes, I was an hour in order to get that install across the VPN, and especially when it was wireless. So anybody dealing with software like that you got to run across a VPN, you want to have the fastest bandwidth that you can possibly get. And you want to be wired, even if you are a laptop. You want to find a way to be wired, because I was shocked at just how slow. I said, how do you live with that? And he says, well, I have to. I have no choice. And he described the situation of his home office, and he's in one of those real older homes that there's no place to run the wires. You would have to do a conduit outside the wall. There was no place to run in the wall to be able to get a wire to him. So he has no choice but to be Wi-Fi. And with those older homes, Wi-Fi, you have to worry about all the walls and all the structures and things that you're trying to navigate to. So it makes it very difficult. So I got a client with that. And then this weekend, I got to connect with a worker who does part-time work for one of the CPAs, and he lives in Hawaii. So I have the just an ugly time zone that I have to deal with just to get him where we can connect and I can remote in and instant house call into him, and then again go through. I'm planning on an hour because we got to do the VPN, and I know he's wireless, so I already have a benchmark for the time that it's going to take, and then he'll be done. So just these are the things that I've been working on right now, and got to get back to, like I said, some of the projects and just some more stories from the trenches. A weird, innocent little problem for a printer copier that, and this is for a church, and they have a Lexmark XM3250. And the call that we got last week was every time the user was printing to the copier, it was automatically reduced. Yet they are not picking anything to reduce the print. And it seems like someone walked up to the copier and all they were doing was making a copy, and they changed the scale. And that scale stayed where all the documentation we've been reading, that's not supposed to happen. So when they go up to make a copy, you pick copy, scale like 80%, 70%, whatever it is. But for some reason on this copier, and we have to escalate it to the company that manages the multifunction machines, because I believe it is leased. And you have to remember to go back and change it back the value to auto. And I just wanted to bring that up because it was a very strange thing. Normally, when someone's making, a set of copies and they do the scale, when they walk away and they're done, that's supposed to reset back to auto or, 100%. And it does not on this particular Lexmark for some reason. So I don't know if we got to do a firmware update or something. So I know it's on our list to escalate, but we did the workaround to be able to keep them, hey, this is what you got to do, and pass the word and the instructions. So wanted to mention that. This is going to be a link for a Mac user using Microsoft Outlook and searching. They're getting limited or no results. And there is a great Microsoft link here that I'm going to put in the show notes that gives a crazy instruction, and it worked. So to re-index its Spotlight on the Mac, that's really the searching. You have to go to Preferences, go to Spotlight, go in the Privacy tab, and in Finder, you got to copy and paste the following location, and it was exact, and I found that. And you drag it to the main profile folder, and then once you add it, you remove it. You hit the minus sign, and it reindexes everything, and it solved the problem. That was great. And when I was remoted in and did that, and I said it could take several hours to do the index, so I said, let this run overnight, and then in the morning give it a test and try. She was so excited. In the morning I get an email, everything's working, it's searching perfectly, thank you. And then I quickly went back and said, all right, this is a link that I must put in the show notes for my next show. And that's why that was that was in there. So if you have a Mac client and you have that, you're gonna love that answer. So now, cleaning up an archive in Office 365. This is one of my attorneys that we've turned on archiving on Office 365, and now that's filled. So you have to log in to the web access for Outlook, and you want to search for emails to delete. So we say look for a search criteria like date range, sender, subject, or keywords to find emails you want to remove. Select the emails in bulk and then delete. And then you got to go to the deleted items folder and you got to empty the deleted items folder. That's unfortunately the only process. If anyone else has something else to recommend, I am reaching out again to my client to give him another thing. And by the way, he's a Mac user. I want to create a local archive folder that's on his Mac, and he can drag and drop big attachments that are older that he doesn't need and get them on there. But one of the things I have to review with him is what is he doing for backing up that Mac? And then he's got to know that he can only access the files that are locally to that machine. It's not like he can get to them on the cloud. So any recommendations? How are you dealing with users that have to have more than 100 gig of email? So you figure they're pretty close to the limits of the normal OST/PST, and then now they're hitting the limit of the archive email in the cloud with Microsoft. So could use some suggestions for that. And remember, emails miketechshow@gmail.com. Dealing with some power outages, which was a problem for a few buildings in the Horsham area in Pennsylvania a couple weeks ago. There don't know the root cause of the power outage, but it was a couple buildings, and we had two clients that were, they were just down almost all day, and they sent people home for the day just because no access to the server, no access to anything, no internet. Still don't know why, but had to go through. I was on the phone when the power came up. I was on the phone with one person while my son was on the phone with another as we were walking them through the startup process for making sure that everything was on. And then we were making sure we could see green lights within Synchro, our RMM, so we knew, hey, they're online, and walk through making sure the UPS was back on, and the switch, and the either the Comcast or Verizon firewall router, So that was a couple things that we had to go through. Two things that have worked for performance issues, and I blame Dell updating their own software that's causing performance issues. We are seeing, and I mentioned this once before, we now have a process. We delete all Dell programs. Now, I know I'm going to have Dell enthusiasts out there that you support and say, no, don't. We're only going to install the program as needed. If I need the support assist, or if I need optimizer, if I need any of these programs, you can easily go to Dell's site and reinstall it. But right now, we're seeing issues where it's crashing. And I can see it in the event logs. The Dell software just constantly crashing and causing problems where the system crashes. And one was a dental office that it was just horrible. And we had a remote in that night, and my son and I attacked it, where we just removed all the Dell software, and not a peep from them now. Everything's working great. So that's why I wanted to double back and share that with you. I have a couple emails, and I am going to let's cover them. This is from Bob, regular listener. Hi, Mike. I listened to your last podcast where you talked about the Windows 11 bloat-free installation USB You can create. So I decided to give it a try. Mike, I have tried many, many different bloatware removal programs, but this is by far the best. This thing is awesome. First, I tested it with a Windows 10 install to see if I could get a bloat-free install of Windows 10, which I use 22H2. I had to do it for an old Core 2 Duo machine as a test because I wanted to see if it left out all of the bloat as advertised. I also wanted to see if I was able to make an install that would not allow the Edge browser. Wow. The other issue was because it was such an old machine, I had to do an MBR install, so I created a USB with MBR settings and did the install. When it was done, it set everything up perfectly, but I noticed a couple of things with the install that I had to go back and tweak with the XML file. I found out you can take your saved XML file and re-upload it back to the website, make your corrections, and then download it again. Then you copy the updated .xml file over the one on the USB drive. When I was going through it, I noticed that the Edge browser was installed. So I went to Add Remove Programs, and it allowed me to uninstall it from there. This XML answer file allows you to bypass the TPM and secure boot requirements in Windows 11. So I figured I would try a Windows 11 install on this same machine. Going to pause there for a moment. I will never do that for a business client. Now, to play with, on the side or one of your test systems, yes. But I'm not going to bypass that requirement because you never know what Microsoft's going to do. And all of a sudden, I can't get updates. And now maybe they're not compliant or we have a more serious situation. So I agree. It's great, Bob, that you're doing that. But I would never do this for a business client. He continues, so I made another USB, this time with Windows 11 24H2. When it was finished, I tried to install it on the same machine because I had disabled the TPM and secure boot requirements, but it would not load. It just sat there with the Win 11 logo for a while and then rebooted back into Windows 10. So next, I just ran the setup exe right from the USB, and when it failed, the pop-up had these 4 items listed. And he has this processor doesn't support a critical feature. It must support TPM 2 and must support secure boot. I knew the XML file would take care of the TPM and secure boot issues, but I did not know that the POP CNT and SSE 4.2 issues. So I Googled, and they're the error messages that were referenced. So I Googled them. I guess this requirement was part of the 24H2 update. So I made another USB this time with Windows 11 23H2 using the same XML file and tried to install from that. Well, this time it installed on the Core 2 Duo machine, and it did a bloat-free install. And again, Edge was on when it first booted. This time, when I went to try to uninstall it like I did with the Windows 10 version, and it acted like it was going to uninstall, but it never did. So that is the only thing that I wanted it to do that it didn't, but everything else was perfect. I'm going to comment here that one of the problems with even, let's say, staying at 23H2, you're never going to be able to go beyond. And there is a support window even within Windows 11. Like right now, I'm on 22H2 when I did my upgrade here on my system. It won't update, and it's now out of support, 22H2. So just keep that in mind. Yes, I'm glad the workaround worked, with the XML, but you may never be able to go beyond that version. So eventually you'll get away from being able to get certain updates that you need. He continues, that was such a good find, Mike. That was worth its weight in gold. I have created XML files for both MBR and GPT installs so that I can use the XML file I need for the specific machine I am installing on. Thanks for this. It is awesome. Hope you have a very happy new year. And this is Bob. Bob, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. This email is from Kevin. On show 932, you were talking about the accidental drag and drop of your home folder into another directory in the cPanel file manager. Yes, I was panicked with that. He goes on, I know that you were able to fix the problem after realizing what happened, but you expressed how you were initially flustered. I just wanted to bring this up in case you or maybe someone else is not aware of or maybe has yet to configure backups through installation. Installation is a tool in cPanel. It's obviously used to install applications like WordPress, Drupal, etc. But it also has a backup feature allowing for rolling backups and the ability to retain a backup permanently that you would prefer not be deleted. This allows you to easily roll back any unintentional changes or if a botched WordPress or theme update were to occur. Kevin, thank you, thank you, thank you. He's a longtime listener. Thank you for the show and your efforts. Kevin, thank you so much for that. That is something I'm going to turn on for my website that I have not done. This is from David. Hello, it's Dave again. Just wanted to let you know that it was nice to hear on your podcast all of the answers and feedback you got about your one client's mapped server drive issue. I would never have suspected IPv6. Also, just wanted to let you know I appreciate your luck wishes on my taking of the CompTIA Network Plus exam on December 20th. I can report that I did pass it on the first attempt, so I am happy about that. I'm an older guy, but really like tech stuff and always learning. Thanks for the shows and Happy New Year to you and your family, and to you, David C., and your family, and congratulations on passing the exam. That's great to hear. With that, that is it for tonight's show. And I'm really glad to be back and can't wait. I'll be, doing the show, same time, same channel, hopefully every Thursday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. And I get on a little earlier and play music and chat in the chat. So remember, email me anytime, MikeTechShow@gmail.com. Love the emails. Keep them coming. And subscribe to my YouTube videos. And that's Michael Smith MTS on YouTube. And you can always see the video. And especially sometimes when I'm demonstrating things. Like tonight I didn't really do that. But sometimes it's worthy of watching, when I'm describing something or showing you how to do something or use something or piece of software. So that's it. And again, a Happy New Year. And don't forget all the people that need our help that are in the fire zones and just the devastation out there. Keep them in your hearts and prayers, and also whatever you can do to support them. I know they would greatly appreciate. So that's it, and see you next week. Bye-bye.